The screeching howl of the Stuka echoed from the sky, cutting into the hearts of the American soldiers like a death knife.
Eric Schmidt's Stuka swooped down like a hawk, its black shadow engulfing the ground.
Eric Schmidt pressed the bomb release button. His eyes cold as death flew down towards its target. The explosion tore through the air, the GMC flying like a leaf in a firestorm. Ethan Miller screamed in despair, his .50 Cal pointed at the sky, unsure if he would even pull the trigger.
Ethan's machine gun barrel was red from overheating, smoke billowing as he tried to fire his last rounds. Ethan Miller let go of the red-hot gun, looked up at the sky, and realized there was nothing more he could do.
From the cockpit, Eric Schmidt looked down at the devastation below and smiled coldly and arrogantly.
He guided the Stuka through the sky like an artist in a symphony of war.
Black smoke billowed from the charred wreckage, swallowing up the remaining light and hope. The American soldiers fled in chaos, abandoning everything but their guns, their survival instincts guiding them. Some soldiers fell during the retreat and never rose again.
The ambulance sped across the desert, its siren wailing like a cry for help in a burning hell. Jack Riley sat dazed by the wrecked vehicle, looking at his bloody hands and realizing he had just survived a lesson in tears. Jack clenched his fists, veins bulging as anger and bitterness burst out.
Bastards!
We underestimated them.
David Cohen threw the report on the table and screamed that everything was wrong and they needed a new, more accurate and faster intelligence system now.
He punched the map, pointed to the place where the American lines had been breached, and said in a harsh voice that everything had collapsed because of a fatal error. An officer walked in, silently looking at David with pity in his eyes, as if they both knew that the mistake had cost lives. Though his lips curled into a slight smile, Klaus's eyes still held a wary glint, as if he knew that behind this victory lay a fierce undercurrent. Klaus muttered that although today was a victory, the Americans learned quickly this war would be long, the price would not be small. Jack Riley and another soldier wade through ankle-deep mud as they cross a muddy mountain road in Italy. An American soldier is knee-deep in mud as he tries to cross a harsh, muddy road. Jack Riley wipes the sweat from his forehead after a long march. Jack Riley looks straight ahead, his eyes determined, not wavering despite his fatigue. Inside the bunker, Hans Mueller presses his eyes to the sight of his MG-42, concentrating as if ready to pull the trigger at any moment. Hans's finger is already on the trigger of his MG-42 without hesitation. From the loophole, Hans's MG-42 roared, firing red bullets into the advancing formation. American soldiers fell in droves as they tried to advance up the hillside. One hit by a bullet, collapsed in a puddle of mud. The wounded soldier rolled down the slope, leaving a trail of blood on the slippery mud. An American engineer crawls under fire to reach a German bunker and place explosives. His hands tremble with tension as he places explosives into cracks in the bunker, sweat dripping down and mixing with the dirt. The explosion tears the German bunker apart, sending rocks, concrete, and metal flying, exposing the steel reinforcements inside. A P-47 Thunderbolt roars off the runway
from the makeshift airfield, beginning an important airstrike. From the cockpit, the American pilot dived down on the German target, releasing the bomb with a distinctive whistling sound.
The bomb hit the ground and exploded violently, completely leveling the German defense position. In the cockpit of the Me-109, Eric Schmidt tensely watched the bright dot move on the radar screen. The Allied aircraft had arrived. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel, his finger on the fire button, his breathing rapid as if waiting for a crucial moment. Eric's Messau 109 accelerated violently, screeching down the runway before launching into the air to engage. Eric Schmidt's Messerschmitt 109 soared into the blue sky, leaving a thin trail of smoke behind it as it headed toward the enemy. In the air, Eric's Me-109 and the American P-47 engaged in a fierce dogfight, constantly changing positions in a life-or-death chase. From the Me-109's gun barrel, bright bullet trails tore through the wind and flew straight toward the P-47 that was maneuvering to avoid it. The P-47's wing emitted black smoke and fire after being hit by the bullets, causing it to sway violently in the air. From the bunker, David Cohn looked up through the gap and saw the fierce dogfight raging above his head.
P-47 hit.
David picked up the radio, hastily requesting
air
more
support.
air support when he saw the P-47
We need
hit.
air superiority.
An American Sherman fired straight at the German bunker, blowing off the entrance with a deafening explosion. Flames from the flamethrower poured into the bunker, burning everything inside amid desperate screams. In the dark command bunker, Klaus Richter screamed desperately into the radio, requesting reinforcements and fire support. Klaus Richter slammed his fist on the
kann nicht
table,
sein.
knocking over the oil lamp and causing darkness to engulf the command bunker, his eyes filled with despair. Hans Mueller fires his MG-42 in a ruined bunker, but the faint sound of the gun signals that his ammunition is running low. Beside Hans, a dead comrade lies slumped over the machine gun, his body motionless in the cool silence. Hans
Es ist
kneels
vorbei.
beside his dead comrade, his eyes filled with
Mein
pain
Gott, es ist
and
vorbei.
acceptance that the battle is over. When the last gunfire dies down, the Gustav Line is nothing more than a field of rubble and corpses, where only the cold wind can be heard. On the hilltop, Jack Riley looks down at the ruins of the front line, his face exhausted but a glimmer of hope in his eyes. He turned his eyes to the north, where the war was still going on, his hand tightening on the gun as if ready to move on.